Oh, there's all the Periscope. There's all the Periscope. Oh, whoa, gee, they got all kinds of stuff going on here. Awesome, awesome. Hey guys, welcome this morning. We're going to do a mobile pocket presentation here in Sherman Oaks, California for SendOutCards. Super thrilled and excited to have you with us. And I just realized what I'm going to do is we're going to do the presentation. Trish, if you would you write down your address, mailing address, on a piece of paper? Make it legible so I can read it.
Yes, sir.
Please. Okay. Awesome. So we're going to do the presentation. I've got Terry here, I've got Roger here, and I have Trish here, and so we're going to do the presentation. So we'll be back with you guys later. Okay.
Sorry.
Cool. So, first off, I want to just say thank you all for being here. This is awesome. We're going to try to get through this, even though we're going to have a camera rolling in our face at first a little bit. If it gets too distracting, we'll just shut it off. Okay. So, one of the things that we asked to have you sit down with us today was, hey, if we could show you a way to make some money with your smartphone, sharing an app that everybody loves to use, would you want to see it? And you've all said yes. Otherwise, theoretically, you wouldn't be here unless Roger, they drug you down here, and that's probably a different story.
They just pull me in the trunk.
Exactly. So I got involved in SendOutCards back in 2006. I had an equipment rental company for film and television equipment, and we were a rental house. And a buddy of mine called me out of the blue. It was not pre-planned. He wasn't really that close of a friend of mine. He was just kind of an acquaintance at best, right? And he called me and said, "Hey, do you ever send out thank you cards?" And I said, "No." He said, "Why not?" I said, it's a hassle, it's expensive, I don't know where these people live, like all of the things that you would normally say at a business when somebody says, "Are you sending out thank you cards?" No, right? And he said, "Well, I have this system I want to tell you about." And I'm like, "Peter, look, dude, unless you're telling me that this system of yours prints the card, puts it in an envelope, puts a stamp on it, and takes it to the post office, I am out." And he said, "Well, then I'm going to keep talking." And then I said, "Well, my credit card's out." Because at the time, our marketing budget was $80,000 for our business. So I had put $8,000 a month in a savings account because I only had one shot at it a year. And so I looked at sending out thank you cards as I knew the value, and I was like, oh, this will be huge. So we started sending out greeting cards to our clients, and it had our logo on the front of it, and then on the inside it had our phone number, our email address, our website. It had a coupon with a promo code. It had a map to the location in it. I mean, it had everything but the GPS coordinates to our location, right? And we start sending that out, and I was convinced that the money, like Brinks was just going to back the truck up and just dump the cash in our driveway. And nothing happened. And so I went up to Utah for this convention and was around a bunch of people, and I heard the founder of SendOutCards say a phrase that forever changed my life, and that's that appreciation will win out over self-promotion every single time. So we came back and we started sending out thank you cards to our clients that had none of that sales crap on it. It was all about, "Hey, Terry Sue, thank you so much for letting us bid on the job. Really appreciate it. I know we're not working together this time around, but here's my phone number. If you need anything, shoot me back a call." And then we'd add brownies because they're like crack.
Yeah.
And
I had one.
yeah,
That's good.
440 calories of pure kosher goodness.
Thanks. Yeah.
Fat and carb free today only, right?
Sure.
And people started calling our office just because we were sending out appreciation cards and we were doubling revenues every single month. Like, it was crazy, right? And at the same time that whole story was happening, I had thought the system was so cool that I was having lunch with my insurance agent. She's with State Farm. And I was just telling her I'm like, "Deb, I think I hit the holy grail of marketing. Like, I don't want to tell anybody about this, but this thing is just awesome." So she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "It's a greeting card thing." She's like, "Oh, we send out greeting cards already." I'm like, "No, what you actually send out is a greeting card disguised as an advertisement." I said, "You send me a birthday card every year that says, 'Happy birthday, Casey. Thanks for being a customer of State Farm. Now come on in and renew your life insurance.' You're not really sending me a birthday card. You're sending me an advertisement, right?" So we got on and we sent her mom a card. I didn't even think anything of it. Goes away. A couple of weeks later, I get a check in the mail from SendOutCards, and I freak out. I have no idea why. Not a clue why. So I called the company. I'm like, "Yeah, you guys just sent me this check. I don't know why." They're like, "What's your ID number?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not telling you because I didn't want to send the check back if they send it to me wrong," right? So she's clickety-clack, she's on her little keyboard, and she finally says, "Do you know Deb?" I said, "Yeah, she's my insurance agent." And she said, "Well, she signed up." And I said, "Signed up for what?" She goes, "To use SendOutCards." And I said, "So what?" She says, "Well, what do you mean, so what?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean, so what?" To my so what. And she says, "Well, she signed up for an account." And I said, "Okay, we've established that, but why are you sending me a check?" She goes, "Well, you get paid every time somebody signs up." And I went, "Excuse me? What are you talking about?" I said, "Does the guy who signed me up know this?" She says, "Well, I assume so." I said, "Well, that's probably why he thought he was signing me up. Goodbye." Click. And I called him and I said, "Hey," I said, "do you know we make money at this?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Well, why didn't you share that with me? Why didn't you tell that to me?" And he said, "Because you were so focused on your equipment rental company that I didn't want to take you out of that, and I thought it would be too big of a distraction for you." And I said, "Is anybody making any money in this thing?" He goes, "Yeah, there's this guy out of Utah. His name's Jordan." I said, "You have 15 minutes to get me on the phone with Jordan." Click. 15 minutes later, I'm on the phone with Jordan. And I said, "I need to know how we make money in this thing." And from that point forward, I really saw the value, and I went out and started building a SendOutCard business. It's the first time I had ever heard of making money this way. First time I saw a business model like this. But I was so enamored by the product and having used it in my own business to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue for my business. I thought every business owner on the planet needs this. Every kid needs this to be able to generate income so they don't have to go to college. Like, that's me. That's how I think. People that are looking for something to do or looking to just add extra income to their bank accounts, I'm going to be able to provide that. So I'm going to share with you both sides of the equation today, how the product works and how the money works. I have no emotional attachment one way or the other. If you say this is the coolest thing since sliced bread, I'm going to say awesome. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. And if you say this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, then you're just going to go into you're an idiot category in my book. I get in trouble every time I say that, so I'm sorry. I think there are better decisions. No, but I want to just share with you both sides of that so that you're not like me and you're not at least given all the information. Okay, what you do with that information is totally up to you. Does that make sense?
Cover.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how the phone app works. So we have the ability to take a picture and put it on the front of a greeting card, add some brownies, and send that to somebody. So when you're out at a networking event and you meet somebody, bam, you can mark a moment in time. When you're out watching somebody's t-ball game or softball game and little Johnny hits a home run, bam, you can take a picture of that, put it right on the card, send it out. So I send a card to my grandmother almost every single day using the phone app. So it just makes me feel better, makes her feel better, everybody wins, right?
Aww.
The woman sitting she's over 100 and sits in a nursing home. The least I could do is send her a picture of how gorgeous it is outside, So all I've done for the purposes of this discussion is I've added an adapter so these guys can see what we're doing on the phone up on the screen. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've pre-taken a picture. I highly recommend that you take a picture first, save it to your camera phone, and then put it on a card. Just because if the phone app crashes or we're in an area where we don't get good cell reception, you run the risk of losing the picture if you take it once you're inside the app. So I would just take it ahead of time. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. So here's how this works. So we have a camera, we have a picture already. So I've just logged into the app. I click picture card. There's about 17,000 cards to choose from. So you could choose one that says happy birthday on the front of it, or get well, or nice to meet you, or any of that kind of stuff. So I like to just put pictures on the front. So I go ahead and I stick I just touched that right there. Now you can do a trifold card, you can do a big card, you can do a postcard, but we're just going to do a regular 5x7 card, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click create card. It's going to tell me your photo here. So I just simply touch that. And up pops the computer. Okay? So these are the pictures that are on the camera roll. So we're just going to pick this picture here. So I have a little bit of edit room, not a ton, but I can pick where I want to edit it, and then I just touch it, and that locks the picture in on the front. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay. Now I'm just going to swipe it to the left, and it's going to say inside top. That's the inside top of the card. I can type a message inside of there as well. I'm going to swipe it one more time, and now I am writing on the bottom half of the card, right? So in order to do that, I'm just going to tap the screen, and it's going to come up the editor. The editor is very much, it looks just like you're texting, okay? Now, here we have some options. We can customize the inside of the card. So if we click this F, it'll bring up all the different fonts we can use, okay? So we have a bunch of different fonts in here, and when you come on board as a distributor, it's actually included in your package that will do your handwriting and 4 signatures as well. So you can have your own handwriting and then your own signatures in there. And where I use the different signatures is I have a signature from each of my assistants, so that if a card comes from them, they can sign the card with their own signature. Does it make sense? Okay, so I like to use envelope hand. Okay, so we just touch that. This letter A here moves the font size bigger or smaller. So remember I said I send a card to my grandmother all the time? I make the font huge with only a couple of words on it so she doesn't have to strain and it makes her feel independent. Okay? And then this paint can over here, you can choose one of these colors to make the font, or you can move this. The problem with this, so I've just got this little thing on my finger and I just moved it to wherever. Okay? So then I just touch this, go back here, and I can go, hey.
Thank you. Yeah, we know. Cool.
Been a little worse.
Brownies are in here,
Okay, so there's a little message. Now, you can actually talk this in. You can hit that microphone and talk it in, but because this is in a public forum, my auto text always tends to pick the wrong words. I don't know, maybe it's a bit used to me yelling at the machine. So I just type it in, but you can do it that way. So there's how it looks out on the card. I just click add to cart. So it's going to come up here and it's going to show us the picture. Is going to say it's 3 points. I could send it right now, but by just clicking checkout. But let's go ahead and add a gift to it. So we have about 1,800 different gifts to choose from. Everything from size cards that sit in an envelope to all kinds of things as big as we have a dozen roses in there. We have a big Star Wars kit that if you've got kids or adults that think they're still kids, you can send them this big Star Wars kit that's really, really cool as well. So our brownies are our most popular gift by far, although they've told us that they're testing something right now that they actually believe will be a bigger seller than brownies, which I find difficult to believe. But that's what they claim. So I'm just going to add those brownies right to the card, right from the phone, and I'm just going to click checkout. It's going to show up my return address. Okay, so now Trish, even though she might be in my system, I'm going to show you how it looks when she's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click add new recipient. Click add new recipient. So when I'm at a networking event, I can do this really fast because I'm not demonstrating it. I've got it down to under 2 minutes. Okay, so Bruce is not going to show the screen, so I don't have your address up there, Trish.
It's my business address. It's okay.
Oh, okay. And it's K
KROPP.
Okay. And people will sometimes say, is that 04C? Sometimes people will say, well, do people ever give you grief giving you their address? I've never had that happen. Is that?
Yeah.
We were sailing along.
I don't care what you do. Why don't you sail right along to that purse here to get your credit card out? How's that? 91321, correct? Cool. Okay. So then I can go here and I can save this as a contact, and it allows me to put email addresses and phone numbers in there. So now in a networking event, it's really easy to be able to capture somebody's information and actually send them a picture of myself, and the person maybe has a selfie, says, hey, I'm really looking to get together for coffee, or let's go sit down and chat. Has a way more powerful meaning than here's my business card, which nobody follows up with, right? Although people claim they still do. So I'm just going to go ahead and click continue to checkout. Okay, there's the address. Okay, I'm now to the point where it says submit payment, so it's going to tell me that it's 13 points, 10 points for the brownies, 3 points for the card, and then $4.50 to ship it. Okay, so I just click submit payment, and as soon as that little card shows up, bam. Now, that card with that message and that packet of brownies is coming to your house. And what that did was that was about $6, right? By the time it's all said and done. Pretty cool, huh?
Sweet.
So, one of the cool things about doing this app this way is that the number of people that are going to be interested in just how you do that is sky high, especially when you actually start demonstrating it. So what I try to do is I try to demonstrate that 3 times a day. That's my goal, is to walk 3 people through every single day, seeing how that app works. Okay? So let me show you how the money works in SendOutCards. Okay? So there are 4 types of people that usually join us in SendOutCards. Okay? So person number 1 is a customer. Okay? That person is somebody that's going to look at about what I'm going to show, and they're going to say, you know what, that all sounded great, but at the end of the day, all I want to really be able to do is use that app to send cards and gifts to my clients, to my friends, my family, so on and so forth. Okay? So we call that a customer. Okay? Number 2 is somebody that wants to be a referral partner. And what a referral partner is somebody that looks at all this and goes, that's awesome, I get it. I know a ton of people that this will be useful for. However, I'm so busy in my day job that I can barely see straight. So in that case, normally what I do is I say, Trish, let me go sit down with the people. If you can come, that would be awesome. It's not going to be a cold call, but if they know I'm calling for SendOutCards or whatever, you refer them to me, they sign up, you get a check. Okay, so we call that a referral partner, number 2. Number 3 is somebody that looks at all this and goes, okay, I'm looking to put together between $250 and maybe $500, $750 a month. I think I can put together a plan of action to do that. So I call that the part-time income person. Person wants to make, somewhere between $250 and $500, $750, maybe $1,000 a month. We call that a part-time income person. And then a number 4 is somebody that looks at all this and goes, in my head already there's a list of 15 people I know that so I can build this thing as a business. You ain't that good looking, you ain't that smart, and all you did was slap down some cards in front of me like I'm in, right? It's not that hard. I call that person number 4, or a full-time income person. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Any questions? Okay. So let me show you how let me show you how the money works. And so at the end, what I'm going to do is I'll reiterate those four types of people. I'm going to say which one do you think you are. Okay. So I'm going to show you how the money works, and I'm going to use this deck of cards to demonstrate it. Now I'm going to tell you a couple of things about this deck of cards. It is not a magic deck of cards, right? Glenn back there is a magician. He could do a lot more with this deck of cards than I can. I'm smart enough to put them in order based on the numbers that are at the bottom of the deck of cards, right? That is about as highbrow as I can get, right? So I'm not that smart. I've just put these cards in the order that they're supposed to be in. Does that make sense? Okay. So first couple of cards out on the deck are disclaimer cards. And really what this disclaimer says is I'm going to do the presentation to the best of my ability using the language that I believe is accurate at the time. I have to give myself some leeway and some room in case I make a mistake, but the general premise for where we are today is accurate. So don't sue SendOutCards, sue me, is essentially what this says. Okay? Okay, so here's this first card. This first card is just the question that we asked. We get everybody really clear on being able to ask a question. Hey, if I could show you a way to make some money with your smartphone sharing an app that everybody loves to use, would you want to see it? Okay? Somebody says yes. Great. You sit them down. Here we are. We started doing the presentation, right? You said there are 4 types of people. I'll leave this card up here as well. So 4 types of people. Number 1 is a customer. Number 2 is a referral partner. And number 3 is a part-time income earner. And number 4 is a full-time person. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Any questions so far? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Does any of it ring a bell?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Here we go. So when you come on board with SendOutCards, what you're actually doing is you're actually purchasing a marketing distributor package if you become a number 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so a preferred customer is going to be $39 a month. That $39 is going to buy points. It's going to give you 100 points per month. Okay, now there's no contract. You can cancel it anytime. You can pause it anytime you need to. So for example, the card and brownies that we just sent, in that case, those points, the brownies were 10 points. Mm-hmm. So as a customer, you would have paid $3.90 for those brownies, right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. As a distributor, as a marketing distributor, we enjoy, our points are 31 cents. So a customer pays 39 cents, a distributor pays 31 cents. So it's about 30% cheaper, less expensive, okay? So when you come on board with a marketing distributor package, and that is a one-time $395 stroke on your credit card, okay? So it's $395. Now we're gonna go out and we're gonna do the same thing that we're doing here today. So we're gonna go bring some people to the table, we're gonna show them the presentation, and we're gonna go through this exact same presentation. When somebody you show or we show together comes on board and they decide to take us up on the $395 package, SendOutCards is going to cut you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm even ahead of myself. Before that, when you first get started, our first goal is we want to go get 3 customers. Right, 3 customers. It's pretty easy. You can pretty much do it in 3 phone calls. Hey, I started a new business. I just want your help. Let's get started. If you do 3 customers within 30 days, SendOutCards is going to write you a check for $50. Okay. Now, I tell people all the time to take this $50 and stick it over here. And don't even think about it, because what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to invest in 2 decks of cards like this. One for you, and one for if somebody comes on board, you can hand them a deck of cards so they can start practicing and using the presentation straight away. Okay? So that's why I take that $50 and stick it over there today. So, okay. So we go out and we show somebody SendOutCards and they come on board as a 2, 3, or 4. Right? My personal philosophy is I look to get everybody to have them get checks written back to them for more than what they put into the business as fast as possible. So then I know we're all playing on house money. Okay? So somebody comes on board as a $395 account. Oh yeah, this is you. Sorry. Jeez, I got myself all kind of jacked up here. So this is us. So this is you, Trish. Okay, so you come on board as $395. Somebody comes on board. Your first person, SendOutCards is gonna stroke you a check back for $140. Okay. Now this is a commission for selling a package. Okay. So we call this the commission. Okay. So SendOutCards is going to send you a commission check for $140.
This guy here did the $3.95.
Yeah, $3.95. Yep. So we're going to go do that same thing. Second person that comes on board, SendOutCards is going to cut you a check for $140 again. Okay? And then we're going to do that a third time. SendOutCards is going to send you a check for $140 as well. Okay, now, remember I said there's a $31 a month subscription or $39 a month if you're a customer. Well, in addition to getting paid up front, we also make a residual piece of every card and gift sold. So every one of those dollars that is spent in this group here, we make a percentage of. Okay, so we have two components to our check. One component is a commission check, and one component is a residual check. Okay, so that's what we make in commission. Now, if you'll do the math, that's 140, 140, 140, that's 420. Which means that that's more than our $3.95. So this is kind of the basic building block of how we build the business. We want 3 people, each you make 140 on, now you've made more than what you put into the business. Does that make sense? Now, at the same time, SendOutCards goes, all kinds of bells and whistles go off. They give you a promotion and they give you a huge raise just after this, So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a pen here just for purposes of discussion. So now, these people can bring in people as well, right? And they're going to make 140, so on and so forth. So all these people are bringing in customers, they're bringing in distributors, and we're getting a residual component, and they're making the 140, okay? So now, we're going to go over here, and we're going to have one more person join us here. When this person joins us here, SendOutCards gives us a big raise when we do this. So instead of 140, SendOutCards this time around is going to give us a check for $240. Okay? Now that makes up 2 components. It makes up a commission component because we've sold a package, and it also makes up a leadership bonus, or what we call a customer acquisition bonus of $100. So I just want to make sure I say the right definitions here. But SendOutCards is going to cut you a check for $240. Okay, we're going to do that again. SendOutCards is going to again cut us a check for $240. Okay, and they'll do it again. $240. Okay. Now this to me is where this whole thing gets really kind of hot and sexy. Okay? Right? So, now in this group right here, this person brings in somebody, right? We're helping them get started. So, this person brings in their first person. SendOutCards is going to cut you a customer acquisition bonus check of $100 straight away. And then let's say this person brings in somebody, their first person. SendOutCards is going to pay you $100. Okay? And then this person here, let's say they bring in somebody. Okay, so they bring in somebody. SendOutCards is going to cut you a check for $100. And then let's say this person goes to town and they bring in their first person. SendOutCards is going to cut you a check for $100. And then this person brings in their second person, so we'll put that person here. SendOutCards is going to cut you a check for $100. And then let's say this person brings in their third person. SendOutCards is again going to cut you a check for $100. Right? And then this person here goes, but wait, I want to make some money with SendOutCards. I haven't done anything for 5 or 6 months. I've just been sitting watching everybody else make some money. I'll go share it with somebody. We go share it with somebody. They bring in their first person. SendOutCards is going to cut you a check for $100. Okay? And then let's say this person says, you know what? I can do this. I'll go bring in somebody. SendOutCards is going to cut you a check again for $100. And then, I don't know, then this person here brings in a person, and SendOutCards is going to send you a check for $100 again. Okay? Now, there's 12 people in this group right here. Okay? 3 of them were brought in by us. 1, 2, 3. The other 9 were brought in by somebody else in the organization. If we were to bring in other people personally, we would make that 240 over and over and over again. If they bring somebody in, we make $100. Okay? Okay? Now, I could put a pen here, because we now get all super kinds of bells and whistles go off, because we've built 2 groups now. In fact, if you stay with us after break, we get to celebrate 3 people that have done that up to today. Okay? So, and now they get a bigger check going forward, residual check going forward as well. So just to put this in perspective, right here you're making $240. I'm a couple of promotions up in the compensation plan. So when I bring in somebody personally, I make $320, and I'll actually make 17% residual of everything in that particular group up the scale a bit. Okay? So there's a good chunk of cash sitting here on the table. So let me break this down residual side. In this little room, if you will, we make 2% residual of every dollar that's spent in this room by these people, who they bring in, and so on and so forth. So if we take this down, everybody gets a couple of customers. Everybody brings in 3 reps just to get their money back. And we do that, and we just break it down to the 7 levels and stop. Okay? You're getting paid 2% of all that volume. Okay, we call that volume. Okay? So if I did the math on that, in just these 3 who get 3, who get 3, who get 3, who get 3, is right around $15,000 per month, in addition to all of this. Okay? And that's month over month over month. Okay? Now, Terry, remember when I said here we get a big raise? It's a 350% raise. So in this group we make 2%. In this group we make 7%. Okay? So if I do the same math, these 3 who get 3 people, who everybody brings in 3, and we all get a few customers, the math, if we go down 7 levels and stop, even though we pay infinitely deep, we have to cut it off just to keep apples to apples and oranges to oranges. This group, the residual check is right around $35,000 per month, month over month over month. So I look at it this way. We combine these two, and that doesn't include any of this leadership money, Trish. This is just residual. Okay? So I look at that and I go, it's $50,000 a month. But I'm just also very aware that sounds really great, and that sounds like super awesome if everybody did what they're supposed to, but people are nutty. Okay? So I like to look at things from what happens if the whole thing goes to hell in a handbasket. So I look at it this way. If it's $50,000, if 90% of this thing fails, 90%, we have a 1 out of 10 success rate, we're still sitting at about $5,000 per month in residual, plus all this other money, bonus money that's coming in. Does that make sense?
When you say residual, is there an expectation of a minimum purchase per card user per
Great
month?
question. So when somebody comes on board, they come on board as a preferred customer. Oops, I'm sorry. So they're spending $39 with us. As a distributor, we ask everybody to at least be on a subscription of $31 a month.
Okay.
I have lots of clients of mine that are. I just signed up a customer yesterday who wanted to go on a $93 subscription just because he didn't want to have the hassle of always buying more points. But he's a business owner. He's going to send out lots of cards. Right? Does that make sense?
Totally. Thank you.
And there's a couple of other smaller customer accounts that people can buy. All of that volume comes in. Okay? Any question? Any question? Okay. So that's kind of the money conversation. Will you guys do me a favor? Will you help me count this money? So here. You guys. There's only hundreds and 20, so I'll take the apps.
I'm supervising.
You're supervising. Excellent. How much? 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1,300 plus 5, so 8, 9. So what are we at? We're at 2020? We're at 2020? We're at 2020. Let me help you with the math.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bring it.
That's why I didn't do it.
So what we did there is I just was showing you that with 6 people that just do a very little amount of work, you'll have $2,000 cash. Plus that will go off and build into a nice little income residual check for you. Okay? So let's go back to any questions. Okay? So let's go back to these 4 types of people. Let me ask this beforehand. Do you think with just once or twice through the presentation, that's a pretty easy presentation that you could probably do?
It's so sweet.
It's pretty sweet.
I love visual.
Yeah.
I love the little dollar guys, you know, the little money representative.
Yep.
And even the pen and segmenting, this is the level and this is the level and this is what it means. It's like visually so clear.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's clear. I want to make it so simple that a 9-year-old could do it. That's really the plan.
Is there an age limit for people if we have teenagers?
They have to be 18.
18, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
Nice.
the way around that is if they have a trust or something that you could,
take it.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
We'll talk privately. I'm sure we can make whatever work.
Talk about your trust.
So there are 4 types of people, right? I said them before. So let me just go through them once again. Number 1 is a customer. They didn't see the money. You don't see the money. You're just like, I get it. All I want to do is send cards and gifts from the phone, right? So we call that a customer. Number 2 is a referral partner. You go, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I totally can see that, but I'm super slammed. I'll refer you business. In that case, you would refer the business to me or to whoever, and we would go sit down and do the presentation. They sign up as a 2, 3, or 4. You get a check. Okay? It's a referral partner. Number 3, and a referral partner is a distributor. So that's the $395 package. Okay? And number 3 is a part-time income earner. That's somebody that goes, I know I can wipe out a car payment or a credit card payment. I want to make $250 to maybe $1,000 a month. We'll put a plan together to be able to do that. And number 4 is somebody that goes, oh my gosh, that was super easy. You put some cards in an order. You showed me how to send a card on the phone app. You told me your goofy little story. You flapped down some cards, and then you're like reading a cue card off of here and telling me what kind of poor people's doing. Like, you're not that smart, dude, right? And we call that number 4 a full-time incomer. Now, obviously, I like working with 2, 3s, and 4s, and what the difference between 2, 3, and 4 is really shows me where your commitment is, so that I know how fast to run next to you. So, if you want to move forward, if you want to crawl, I'll crawl next to you. If you want to walk, I'll walk next to you. You want to jog, I'll jog next to you. You want to sprint and go for the goal, I'll sprint and go with the goal right with you. So, here's the scoop. Here's the big question. Based on what you saw here today, if you had to make a decision today, right now, which number would you be? Okay. So, I've asked them not to answer that question. I hope this was useful for you guys. We'll put this video up on YouTube. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Bye. Bye. Bye.